When did you realize your friends weren't actually your friends? When they only call you when they need something from you. I would never hear from anyone unless they needed something, usually when they wanted it for free. Not my story, but a mate's. Guy invites all his high school friends, he's known them around 10 years around, to celebrate his new house and newborn daughter. All the lads he invites drop MDMA in his lounge room and spend the night tripping without him, not even caring that he had all this amazing stuff he wanted to celebrate. Guy walks up to the ladies, who are obviously unhappy with the situation, and tells them, "I've just realized these guys aren't my mates. They are just using this event to drop and have fun on their own." Hearing that story broke my peeping heart. Me and two girls were walking down the street and they completely ignored me, so I was walking behind them. Then I decided to just turn around and walk back home. They didn't notice, and they never asked where I went. That really hurt. Also, at another point, one of the girls came up to me and just flat out said to me, "Sometimes I don't understand why you have friends." Well, recently I've started wondering about it too. When I realized I was practically harassing them to hang out with me. Just gotta get some self-respect and learn to let it go. Same. It was bittersweet. When I got ill, once they realized I could no longer throw parties for them, they all left. When I realized that my two best friends just came over to mess with me and make fun of me together. I was like a decoration on their conversations with each other, and they only talked to me to tell me things like, "Be quiet," or "Can I borrow this PLZZ?" Mom got cancer, and I had to come home and drop out of college to help the family. Said I might need some emotional support etc, and got ghosted the next day. Real speepty part is I helped one of them with their grandmother's cancer and brother's attempted suicide. One group of friends I had was a group of 7. During restrictions in London you were limited to groups of 6. Guess who was left out almost every time? Don't worry, I do have a few groups of friends and a wide support network, so this didn't affect me that badly. It more just made me take stock and think, oh, I'm definitely number 7 in this group, so I should take that into account when I decide who to spend my time with. When no one checked if I was okay when my dad died. Are you doing okay? Not really, but it is what it is. When I was in deep depression and finally opened up to my friends, and they made fun of me saying I was only trying to get attention. I'll offer some advice that comes from 40 years of figuring things out. 1. If they make you feel bad more often than they make you feel good, they aren't your friend. 2. If they talk about mutual friends to you, they're also slagging you off to those self-same people. They aren't your friend. 3. If you are constantly the butt of their jokes in front of other people, they aren't your friend. 4. If they undermine your achievements, or are only supportive when they want something, they aren't your friend. 5. If they're peeping your fiancé behind your back, they are definitely not your friend. Bit of a specialist category, that one. Was talking to her during class and she just says, "Why don't you have other friends?" It was terrible, especially since this guy behind us just froze at her comment and stared at us to see what happens next. I female was extremely close to her since elementary school, and this happened in middle school in the middle of class. We were just talking normally when she just blurts this out, which is why I mentioned the guy. I think he was talking to us when she said it, and he happened to be my crush's best friend. So it was even more embarrassing that he heard this. Also, I wasn't always bothering her with my problems. In fact, I had always felt left out because it seemed like I was more her friend than she was mine. I did have other friends, but like I said, me and her were close. Also, the relationship didn't end between us. It did end though when she moved a year later. But after that I figured out the type of person she was. Also, her question didn't sound like a friendly question, which is clearly why I'm still hurt by it after all these years. When in my senior year I found myself completely and utterly alone after a difficult breakup. When I broke up with a girl that I had dated for less than 5 months and they all abandoned me for her, and then I found out they all were taking a trip to Colorado together and nobody even bothered to tell me. I found that out on Facebook. I was in a group of friends at uni, and one of them was Swedish. This was remote friendship. We distanced. But I accidentally came across on Facebook that the Swedish guy came to visit the others. I'm unsure if I would have gone, but I would have liked to have been included. The silence confirmed that I was better off not in their lives. When they start hiding things from me. When you need help, so you start writing him a message, then see 3 unanswered messages from you asking for his helps, and right above a conversation of you helping him out for hours on stupid speeps. A big one for this one. Whenever they need me, I'm making myself more stressed to complete my work, so I can separate some time for them, but if I need help/attention for an advice etc. I should evaluate whether my problem is big enough so that I get the right to bother the majesty. When he ripped me and our other friend/flatmate off for $700, and when we confronted him about it, he took all his nice stuff and left us to get rid of his trash and never paid us our money back. So essentially we were down $700, meaning we had to come up with that money. We had to continue paying rent etc with one less income, and we had to pay to get rid of his crap. FPPU Vans. Yay FPPU Vans. When I stopped initiating conversations and all communication stopped. A valuable lesson I learned was stop watering dead plants. Really showed how much energy and love I was wasting on the wrong people. When my divorce became public. Lost everybody. Ex and I are on friendly terms, but everyone I thought would be there ghosted me. Even the ones I was friends with before the relationship. To those who have experienced or are experiencing the same thing, I hope you find your true group of support this year, if you haven't already. Everyone deserves it. I have no ill will towards my ex or the ex-friends. My ex and I got married young and it bit us in the butt later on. I only have confusion and a little hurt towards the ex-friends, but honestly I'm much happier now. There were no affairs in my failed marriage. We went to therapy for 2 years and came to the conclusion together. We are friendly towards each other. I like to think he's not talking trash behind my back, and he is the good guy I think he is. Some friends dropped me because they were uncomfortable with having an unmarried friend. The rest of the group I still don't know. People are people and this happens often. Usually the end result is a positive one though. Yep. I wish I had known that losing my husband also meant losing our large circle of married friends. As if being cheated on and abandoned with 2 small children isn't hard enough without seeing happy couples on trips and hanging out without so much as a phone call to check on you. Then there's the special category of ash peeps who justified their friendship with my ex by telling me I must have failed as a wife if he was motivated to cheat on me. Long story short, my friend circle pretty much evaporated and I mostly use Netflix to keep me company. After middle school, I realized that my friends weren't actually my friends, since they'd spent basically the entirety of it bullying me and making my life a living hell. I was so used to being abused and mistreated. I thought that was what friendship was. It's unfortunate that the leader of it all got to live a good life, and I'm just fortunate that my friends from high school who also knew this dude believed me when I told them what kind of a person he was to me. When I had a large hole in my foot after stepping on an iron spike. They laughed as the ambulance guys closed the doors. One of the ambulance guys said, "Some friends you've got there." I realized he was right. In high school my long-term bully in the year above me threw a rock the size of my fist at me, hitting me in the back. Of course, I hit the ground screaming in pain. Most of my friends, who were sitting nearby, began to roll around with laughter as, according to one of them, it looked like I had been shot. You know things are serious when the most feared person in my year ran over and helped escort me to the medical room because he saw what happened and thought it was unacceptable. When I came back the next day after a quick visit to her and a police statement was given, I had to deal with one or two of them deliberately poking the huge bruise on my back and laughing about how funny it was when the rock hit me. I shrugged it off for years. But it was only until last year and I started therapy that I understood how much anger and disgust the whole thing made me feel. I had forgiven the person who threw the rock ages ago, but it's only recently that I've started to try and forgive the friends who laughed at me when I was injured. Being 15 sucked. Edit. Just to add, some of those friends did come over and try and help, but it was by the time the feared kid came over. Out of a group of maybe 15 friends, only 2 to 3 showed any real concern and tried to help. The rest were laughing. One of the kids who came over to see if I was okay was called Jamie. Nice work, Jamie. When I told them I was detoxing and cleaning up on taking drugs, and they proceeded to offer me more drugs, take them in front of me, and egg me on to take more. When I left, that was the last time they spoke to me. When they left me bleeding and concussed on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere in Cuba to find my way back to the resort completely disoriented. I was in a band with my closest friends, and we used to travel a lot for gigs, etc. Because it was just for fun, and we all had real jobs. Sometimes one of wouldn't be able to make it, and I noticed that whoever wasn't in the car would get ruthlessly slammed by my friends. After 3 or 4 times I worked out that if I wasn't in the car, they would say bad things about me. So one day I say I can't make it to the gig, and I send along a colleague from work to take my place. Next day he reported back to me that they spent the whole trip there and back hanging speep on me. And not in a fun way. They genuinely were not my friends. Never spoke to any of them again. When I tried to be her wing woman for this guy she was crushing on, but the guy liked me instead. So she crushed up some of her Xanax and put it in my drink, and then left me by the side of some old train tracks. No, I did not contact the police. At the time I was with a very controlling narcissistic partner, and my first thought upon waking actually revolved around what would happen to me if he found out. I thought I somehow blacked out on 2 drinks and this was all my fault. So I did not tell anyone for a long time. However, she did. Being the person that she was, she actually bragged to a mutual friend of ours about what she did for stealing the spotlight, and that's how I came to know it was her and the drug she used. After our mutual friend found out, she came and told me, and then everyone stopped being friends with the psycho. I never ever in a million years I thought I would need to protect myself against another woman while drinking, let alone a friend. I have severe trust issues now, but I guess it's better than being naive. When they are not happy for you for doing well, and don't care about you when you're not doing well. When I got sober. Went drinking with my best friends. We were a group of 5 college girls having a blast at a bar. I got drunk, but was still remember some of what was happening. We were leaving the bar and a guy was talking to one of my friends, let's call her friend G. He came over and grabbed me by the waist and he said, your friends are following us to my place. Let's go to my truck. I was drunk and this guy was still holding me while we walked to the parking lot. I was about to get in this guy's truck when another friend ran and grabbed me. Later I found out that my friend G had made a deal with this guy. He gave her weed in exchange of her fooling me to go alone to his place. My friend sold me for weed. I honestly didn't think much about the reality of what happened until after I told the guy I was dating back then. He was rightfully enraged. A quote I love. They aren't real friends until they defend you in your absence. I came across an old mutual friend back in late 2016. We talked and caught up with our lives from a 10-year gap since we've seen each other last. Following year 17 through 18 he started turning things around and becoming a fake friend. He started asking for money at least once a month at first, then progressed to every other week, varying from 20, then to 100, then 500. Excuses were, I need it for my cell phone bill, or I need it for a Mother's Day gift, followed by I need it for rent. Meanwhile this guy was working at McDonald's full time at 16/hour and living with his grandparents rent free. I decided to cut ties with this person. When they need you to be there for them, but don't want to be bothered to be there for you. When my best friend had her boyfriend cheat on her, and the group of people who witnessed it didn't say anything for a whole year. It made me question their morals. Like if I was in my bestest position, would they not say anything for a whole year? Not to mention, they would talk massive amount of crap on us when we weren't around. So yay. When they greet you in the morning, not with a good morning or hello, no what's up, no hey there, it's yo you got on me weed. Like peep, dude. No, I don't have any weed for leeches. Crazy, but when a very toxic ex-GF made note that they weren't my friends, I didn't listen. After recovering from that horrible breakup, I met/started dating/quarantining with a really nice lady. Friends I fed, partied with and traveled with were jealous and would start picking me apart in front of said lady. End of the story is everyone is gone now. Should listen to toxic GF. 1/10 would not repeat. When someone else told me they said they are only your friend because they feel sorry for you and tried prying as to why. Me and this girl were both in school counseling for absent fathers. So hearing this after she left the school was kinda devastating. Not to mention, another reason I won't trust anyone. I'd never had friends. And this was 4th grade. I just wish I knew why I was so pitiful. So sad. They felt they had to pretend to be my friend. When I was getting abused, and they didn't care, or rather just left my life entirely. No one came to my graduation party and I wasn't invited to anyone's. When I moved, no one stayed in touch. Even with me trying. When I started working from home, no one has checked in on me. Starting to think I'm just unlikable, to be honest. We were seniors in high school. It was when a friend asked me to write her entire senior research paper because she was failing, and I said no. She then went on to tell the entire school about my past people abuse, which I had disclosed to her in confidence the year prior. That's how I got the nickname Alabama for the rest of the year. It was my brother who assaulted me when I was 5 and he was 15. As a small consolation prize, she failed senior year, dropped out, works at Walmart last I heard, and has 3 kids with 3 guys. I went on to get my nursing degree, work IQ/er, and am happily married. Fpeep Uniki. You got what you deserved. My best friend from high school didn't invite me to his wedding. When I was in a fragile mental state, and they thought it was funny to make me break down. And they have the nerve to leech on me a few hours before a test. I ended up leaving them to fail instead of helping. When I stopped buying pot and alcohol for them and they disappeared. When I realized I'd dreading talking to them. When they chose to believe a rumor over me. Well, so and so said this about you. That was when I chose my own path and those that wanted to keep me as a friend decided to do so. When we started dating. When we fell in love, cause a lot of people think what I meant was bad.